Hey guys, it's EJ with Blockpad, and today we're going to take a look at hidden sections. So to get into it, let's say I have this part of a document that I want to hide. So to do that, I will highlight it, come to Insert, start typing in Section, make sure it's around paragraphs, and click OK. So now I've got a section around the stuff that I want to hide. But notice that that gives me an error down here. So to fix that, I'm going to click this, come to Properties, and change Capture Values to No. And the reason that works is because when Capture Values is yes, then Section is treated like a closed box. When it's no, it's treated like an open box where this stuff can access it. If you want to learn more about that, I'll put a link to the deep dive in the description. So moving on to hiding this, I'm going to click this section. I'm going to change the names to calcs so that I can keep track of it better. And I'm going to click on this hide property. Now the input to this is a regular Blockpad formula, and you want the result to either be true or false. So the simplest thing you can do is just type in true. And so when hide property is true, this section is going to be hidden. When the hide property is false, then it's going to be shown. So let's say though we want a little toggle in the document that we can say on or off, show or hide this section. So I'm going to click the field property, I'm going to insert a field, click on the field, double click, equals true. All right. Then I'm going to do some stuff to make it easier for this to work in the document. So I'll change show name to yes. I'm going to change the name to hide calcs. And I'm going to come down to the bottom, value definition, change this to from option list. I'm going to type in an array, so open brackets, the word true, semicolon, false, and close brackets. So press enter. And now I have this drop down where I can change true or false. Back to the calc section, I'm going to come over to the hide property, and I'm just going to click this field and click OK. And now this is linked together. So if I change this to true, it's hidden. If I change it to false, it shows. So note though that because this is a Blockpad formula, you can reference anything in the document. So for example, I can say pressure less than 1000 psi. And so if the pressure becomes less than that, for example, 600 psi, now it's going to be hidden. It's not a super practical use, but another thing you could do that would be a little more practical is if you hide it only if the checks pass. So I'm going to reference this value passes and click OK. And so long as all of our checks pass, it's going to be hidden. But if they fail for any reason, so now they're false, then the calculations will show. So that's kind of the basic setup for hidden sections. I'm just going to get into a couple examples to show you how you might use them. So in this pipe head loss example, we have to calculate the flow type. And then based on the flow type, we have two totally different calculations for F, depending on whether it's laminar or turbulent or transitional. So for example, F here is just a simple equation. But if I change the flow so that we get a turbulent flow type, we now have this very different equation that you need to solve iteratively, which I do with the solver section. So I do this by having two different sections, one for laminar and one for transition and turbulent. And then I have a third hidden section where I assign the actual F value based off of whether it's laminar or turbulent. So to show you that, I'm going to come here to the View drop-down and click Show All Sections. This is going to show a section even if it's hidden so that you can work on things. So the laminar section over here in the properties window, I have it hidden if the flow type isn't laminar. This I have things hidden if the flow type is laminar. In this last section where I assign the value, I have capture value set to no, and I have hide equals true, so it's always hidden. And notice that even though this is hidden, this formula is going to calculate. That's because hidden sections are still going to calculate in Blockpad. They're not turned off, they're just not shown. So that's how I have it set up. I'm going to turn off show all sections. One more thing that you might find useful is using the navigation tree, which shows all headings, tables, and sections in a top level frame. And even if a section is hidden, it's still going to show up in this navigation tree, which you can use to kind of get around the document. I'm going to close that. I have one more example for you guys. And this is just kind of a real simple buckling calculation. But if I change this drop down, then I get a different picture. So if I change these constraints, I get a different picture based on the constraint. So if I come here, view, show all sections, I see that I actually have a different section for each constraint with a different picture. And what I do is I just say, if the value constraints doesn't equal this, then hide it. So it's only going to show when the constraints equals this. And so that way, I'm going to turn off show all sections. I get these different pictures based off the inputs. So as I kind of recap, just to show you an example of how you might do that, I've got this file here where I have a drop down where I can choose left and right. And I'm going to make it so that either the left arrow shows or the right arrow shows. So first I'm going to highlight this, come to insert a section. I'm going to name the section to keep track of it better. So left arrow. And I'm going to hide it if direction does not equal, quote, left, end quote. Okay, so now this is hidden if this value isn't left. I'm going to do the same thing with this right arrow. I'm going to highlight it, insert, section, name it to be right arrow. And we're going to hide it if direction doesn't equal right. Press enter. So now I've got this drop down that'll show right or left based off of what I put in. So that's all I've got for today. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and thank you.